As we continue discussing what does multi-ethnic missions look like and how is this different than just getting people from various ethnic backgrounds on a typical style trip, the next thing that we need to talk about is our internship program. And so as our mission committee and even some of our staff and just mission friends here at the church prayed about and thought through, how do we make this step? How do we make this transition to be more multi-ethnic by its DNA in our missions than just simply mobilizing people to go do our normal type of trips? One of the things we realized is there are a lot of kinds of mission opportunities out there, right? So one strategy is people use their money and they support national missionaries. So there's a huge movement of this inside India, and the logic is that you can support an Indian pastor or an Indian evangelist at a much lower rate because they're used to living over there than you could a Western missionary that might have expectations to have a comparable lifestyle to how they would in the States, which would cost considerably more in India than it would to support a national pastor or evangelist. So that's one style of missions. The other is our church, we have so much money, we're going to fund our people and we're going to fund them 100% when they go on missions. There are some that get into doing child evangelism, some that focus on humanitarian needs. And so we looked at all of these different options and we realized a lot of these are not what we can do. I would love to be sitting on a pile of money where when our people want to go on mission, we just fully fund them. How amazing would that be? But that's not where God has called us. That's not where we live. And so we had to look at what is the element that our church brings? What is the piece of the puzzle that we get to put that's unique? And we arrived at this because of how God has brought the nations to this neighborhood and because of how God has brought the nations to this church. Our strongest part to play, our strongest role that we can play is in people resources. And so then the question is, well, how do we use our people, our very international base here, to bless the mission world, to bless the global church? And so this became a multi-part plan. There were 9 commitments that we made, and one of them was to start an internship program. Now, right now I'm sitting in our new missions office. I'll probably put up a video at some point about the creation of this and the idea behind it. But this wasn't just created to have a nice space. This was created for our mission internship program. And so we actually have our first intern working this semester with us. She's already talking about mobilizing more interns to work with us. And so part of the idea behind this is that we can support various ministries. I'll give you one example. Right now, we have partners in the jungle working with the Kokama people down in the Peruvian Amazon jungle. And our church and several other churches, we take a 1-week trip each year. So there's 4 trips down to this area of the jungle each year by various churches. And so we each teach a module to pastors who then go way back in the jungle. Some of these pastors are traveling a week in each direction by boat to get there, which is about all they can handle. So they travel a week, they do class for a week, they travel for a week back. 3 weeks out in a hunter-gathering society, that's a lot of time commitment. And then they do that 4 times a year. And so the challenge is, as this ministry has grown in the jungle, those people who live a week out, there are people who live a week out from them who could never come all the way to here, who are saying to these pastors, hey, how can you bring some of that teaching way out here to us? Because we have people a week past us that want to come to where we are. And so that is really the struggle. And even on our side, there still is this challenge because it takes 5 days of a 10-day trip to get to where we already go. For us to travel that week further in, even though it wouldn't take us a week, it would add another 3 days. And so you would have to take 3 weeks of vacation to do this. And so Sam, the man who runs the ministry there, he said, look, Brian, we need some young college students that can take a summer, that could come be trained at a place like Willcrest, where you guys have the knowledge, you can help them with language training and cultural training, and learn how to do chronological Bible storying. And then we could take them on the jungle side and could put them a week journey in this way and a week journey in that way. And so there's all these little fingers now of the ministry going out into the jungle where they could take. And so that's just one example of how this might work. But instead of simply us taking a lot of trips, us doing a lot of projects, us funding a lot of projects, multi-ethnic missions. Here, one component looks like us using our broad cultural knowledge, experience, and people resources to receive people in who are wanting to go out, to spend some time connecting them to the various ministries, to the various people groups that relate to where they're wanting to go, and then helping them get out there. This past year at our Mission Expo, we had a young couple who is headed to West Africa. And so they actually used this method of employing our people resources to connect and to be sent overseas. And so this isn't just people come to us, they're approved, and then they go. It's we want to help connect you to your people group here. And this was great, but they were from a very specific nation in Western Africa that I can't say for security reasons. And it's a nation that I've never met a single person in my life from that nation, particularly here in Houston. And so they go, we want to go. We're really excited about this method of using the people resources of Willcrest, of getting connected, getting invitations and heading over. And so I said, great, where are you going? And they say the country, and I go, oh my gosh, this is a problem because I don't know anybody from there. And I don't know anybody who knows anybody. And I thought, well, God, this is your strategy, not mine. And so we spent a lot of time praying, and then we started talking with our members. And some of our members from West Africa, I said, look, I know you're not from this country, but you're as close as I can get. Do you know anybody? Do you know anybody who knows anybody? I mean, how many layers of removal are you? And within about 3 weeks, one of the ladies came and she said, Brian, I've met a lady who's from there. And we got invited to this memorial service. And so this couple is headed into this country, and they've already got, I don't know, it seems like a couple dozen contacts of possible partners, of people that they can talk to. And so this was such an exciting way, beyond just us mobilizing and equipping and sending. This was an exciting way for the members of our church to be integral to the process of sending this couple to West Africa. And so we want our internship program to be like magnets. I'm sure we've all played with magnets as a kid. And you realize like there's one way you face a magnet and it attracts. And then you flip the magnet around and it expands. There are a couple ways of playing with magnets. One direction, it attracts. And then you flip it around and then it repels. And so we want to be kind of like a revolving magnet, so to speak, where we are able to bring people in and attract people into the International District here in Southwest Houston and into what we're doing, help them to get trained, help them to get connected to the people group that they're going to, and then send them out. And so the second fundraiser that we are doing during this Unity Challenge is to help support this program, to relaunch some ministries that we've had to step down in terms of local ministry, and hopefully be able to relaunch and re-expand into some of the apartment complexes and some of the ministries we used to be able to do. And so hopefully we'll do that, but it will also provide this kind of liminal space where people can come and go and be trained through the process of being engaged in what we're doing here. So as you're going out walking, I want you to think about this. Think through what are ideas, what are ways that you can envision that a program like this, a church like ours, a strategy like what we are employing could be used to help train and send multi-ethnic missionaries.